you're good. Okay, thanks. Okay, so the skills that I want to show you today are kind of focused on when you're opening up your floor. You should come up. You're going to want to see this closer. So yeah. Oh right, I've got this huge TV behind me. I'm sorry, I forgot. I've been doing this for a long time, and this is not usual. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over some more closer detail that I want you guys to pick up on, because when you learn centering and then opening up your floor, that little donut shape, okay, having that as centered and consistent as possible will help you pull a cylinder that's centered and consistent, okay? So, here we go. Whoops. Come on, buddy. All right. Centered, right? Now, I'm not pushing through it, right? I mean, I think some of you are learning that you need to allow the material to arrive at its position, right? So you establish this space with your hands that the clay can occupy, all right? And it's good to, when you apply that force and you want the clay to move somewhere, that you wait for it to move and then arrive in that position, so that you're not constantly pushing through, right? You apply pressure, all right, and that clay will move into that position, okay? And as it spins around, the wheel is going to move all of the clay into that position, right? So, if I'm pushing here, it has to make a full revolution before I can, before this particular part of the material is pushed into that same position, right? Okay. That's an important concept to understand. That concept is going to be important when we start making forms with our cylinders. You have to wait for entire revolutions, because what we're doing is we're basically piling circles on top of circles on top of circles, right? So think of that slinky analogy that I gave you in the last class. Where when you have a really tight slinky, it's really strong and straight, okay? All right. All right, so I open this guy up, and let's just say that I pulled it too quickly and see it's wobbling like that. Oh man, how do I fix that? All right, now what I can do is, remember I showed you this hand position, and my fingers do funny things, it's just the way that it works. After you throw a lot, you'll be able to position your hands to do all sorts of crazy things, okay? But the general concept for this particular move to straighten this out is to have pressure from the inside and the outside of your donut, okay? And then I'll use this hand, this whole hand, to kind of compress that clay down into my fingers. Now that clay is going to move into my fingers, and it's going to push out in different areas. So I want you to feel how the clay is being pushed and where you might have to move your thumb or your finger on the inside to contain that force. So do you understand what I mean when I say that? Does that make sense? Okay. That's a tough one to explain. I'll have to reevaluate my vocabulary for that one. Okay. So anyways, I've got it kind of funny like this. It's because I moved too quick for the wheel, okay? And so what I can do is I can apply some pressure here, all right? And see how my wrist isn't moving? That's really important. I could probably just squeeze that into position and straighten it out just with my fingers. And it's because I'm applying force. I'm not trying to pinch the whole way through it. That'll just shear it away, right? I'm just moving the clay into a different position in according to the speed of the wheel. So I can open it and I can close it. All right. Now the way that I want to contain it a little bit more is I want to keep it low and thicker so that I have more control in the placement of the material, so that when I lift up my cylinder, I know where all of my material is. Okay? And that becomes important when you start making things. So when you know that you need to make a particular shape, you have to strategize where this material is going to be, okay, especially in your cylinders. All right, so what I'll do is I'll just kind of compress that down, right? Okay, now see, it's the same thing with the mushroom. When you're mounding over, when you push down from the top, it all comes out of the bottom, right? And you have to move your hands to control that, to control the clay. Same thing here. I might have to reposition my thumb or my finger on the inside to help control where that material is flowing. Okay? Is this too much information? All right. Okay. So there we go. I'm just going to open this up. Now the other thing I want you guys to pay attention to is just the same position as you are trying to push through your mound to open up your material. Okay, you can use that same hand position and your finger tip, and you can compress that floor, okay, back and forth, and you can get it really flat. Sometimes you get a little bit of extra clay there, it's no big deal. But you need to make sure that your floor is as flat as possible. Okay, see how I did that? All right. Then next, we start building our cylinder. Remember, we make that like little claw, the little C, okay, with our thumb and our middle finger, and then we support our other hand, our other finger with our thumb, okay, and I can find my other finger from the inside by following my thumb, right? Remember that? Okay, and then I'll just compress that material and I'll guide that material vertically. Now, I also want you guys to pay attention to the shape of your cylinder. You actually want your cylinder to be slightly tapered in, okay, or like Eiffel Towered. All right, that will create more strength. The reason why the Eiffel Tower curves out at the bottom, all right, is because it can support all that weight. That's what it's doing. All right, it's creating a stable base. Okay, you need to apply the same concept to your cylinder, especially when you're trying to build this up. You want to keep it as, you know, as vertical as possible. Okay, as soon as you start expanding it outward and getting outward form into it, it's really, really hard to control, and usually what you do is you just rip it. All right, so before you want to put any shape into it, okay, I'll just keep my cylinder shape as vertical as possible, or just slightly tapered in to the middle, right? Okay, now I had all this material thrown to the thickness that I wanted, so you can see I was only applying force at the bottom part, which is where the cylinder is thicker, right? Okay? Okay, is this a good review for you guys? Okay, and there we go. Okay, you get to this part, get to this point, okay, then we'll, oh, I don't have a wire tool. Crap, is there a wire tool? Sorry. Yeah, thanks. Oh, yeah, okay, we got, all right, thank you. All right, you win. You win. Oh, okay, remember this little trick? Put a little water on there. Okay, and then I can, your base, oops. If you get water underneath your pot, then you can just slide it. All right, and then we're just going to take that and put it on our table. Okay, one more time. Did I get you? Okay, right. So you guys can cone it up, right? Cone that up. Okay, and then you can mound it over. All right, now I arrive at my position, but I'm going to wait for the material. Okay, there we go. See, now I'm ready. All right, and some of you, you might just have something kind of off at the very bottom, right? What I'll do is I'll take my strong hand, my right hand, and I'll press down a little bit with this hand just to contain the material. I'm not trying to move it. I'm just trying to contain the position. And then I can just compress my fingers right where it's off center. All right, and that's that interior, the force focusing towards the center that will straighten all that out. And I can just kind of use my fingers to just kind of comb it into position. Did you see how I did that? So you get it really close like this, and if there's any type of issue that isn't perfect, then just fix it, address it. Just address that particular mistake, and then move on. Okay. All right, so there's my center. Okay, and I just checked it with my needle tool. Perfect. Okay. All right, now I'm going to open this up. See both my hands together. Okay, and slower the better, but not too slow. I don't want to be here all day. And see how I'm pulling that out, and then I'll wait. I'll wait for this material to spin around a couple of times in my fingers, so that all of that material centers up. Okay, see, what happens is, if you just kind of pull it and then disengage, you only have one part of that interior circle that's at the diameter. Okay, so this has to spin around in your fingers a couple times to stretch out all the material to the same diameter. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Good. So I don't know how, like, my words are coming across visually in your brains. So, okay, there we go. All right, so let's just say that I'm off a little bit. Oops. And the widest part is at the bottom. That's something that I wanted to focus on today. All right, the widest part of this mound is at the bottom. That's really important. All right, so now what I can do is I can come in with my hand like this, and then just kind of force it and just wait for it to arrive into position, and there I go. Alright, and now you guys should slow down your wheel speed. I keep mine a little bit faster, but something like, something like this would probably be, something like that. That's a pretty good wheel speed, like medium. Okay. Right, in sync with the wheel. And see how my hands are always together. My hands are always together, touching in some way. Okay, it's your job to find your comfort zone. All right. And I want you guys to really start paying attention to your thickness. I want to see really consistent thicknesses in your cylinders. That'll show me that you're learning control, right? Okay. Whoops. See that? Okay, it's pretty much the same from top to bottom, right? I can't see. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a little thin at the bottom, but.
Are you talking about the rings?
The vertical clay walls.
Okay, that they're the same.
That they're the same thickness the whole way up from top to bottom. Okay. All right, one more time, a little bit faster. Okay. All right, now I could continue through, but I'm just going to compress it down a little bit, show you guys the proper shape. All right, now I'm waiting for it. Now just refine it a little bit. Widest part is at the very bottom. See that? Okay, my hands are together, and I penetrate right through the center. I also want you guys to hold your sponge in your power hand. All right, so for you, it's going to be your left hand. All right, who's Rex? You're my other lefty. Okay, the rest of you in your right hand. And see how I grip it? Okay, it just kind of rests between my thumb and my palm. And if you noticed, I'm always working with my fingers. But if I'm overworking the clay a little bit and I run out of water, then I can just lift my hand up and give it a little squirt, and right there's some more water. And then I don't have to stop. I don't have to interrupt my process. Okay, now I'm going to open this up. Okay, I'm going to, my floor isn't level, so I'm just going to level off my floor. Alright, now I can pick up my cylinder here. I'm teaching you a certain way because I want you to learn a specific technique. Okay? After you guys develop that technique, then you develop your own style, okay? It's a very personal, it's very personal. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? What can I do for you? Okay, that's my demo. You guys start working. Hey, can you hit stop? Do you mind, please?
Get back to have on?